Hi all, bonjour, hola, my name is Trish. If you're new, welcome. So in today's lesson, I'll be sharing with you how to create this church flyer as a beginner in Photoshop. And I do have a Photoshop course online, so if you want to join, I will have a link to that in the description below, so you can click and join. So guys, without much ado, let's get started. So guys, I've decided to try something new. I want to show my face while walking you through how to create these flyers. So this is going to be an attempt to keep doing this. So we'll give it a shot today and see how it goes. And y'all can tell me what you also think in the comments below. So if you're ready, let's begin. So the first thing that we always want to do is to have your canvas size. Now for this Photoshop tutorial, we are using a 10 by 10 inches and the resolution is 300. So with this set, we want to go ahead and bring in our background. So I'm going to go to my folder and I'm going to drag in this photo and I'm just going to release and we're going to set it right there in the corner. Now, whenever you bring in a Photoshop file, it comes in with the transform. Now, if you don't see your transform on, make sure that if you select your move tool, you have your auto select and show transform control on. That will activate your transform command. So with this selected, we are going to go ahead and scale it, make it just a little bit bigger. So as you can see, I'm holding down my options and I'm panning to zoom in and out. So I'm going to go ahead and scale it. Oops, I'm going to zoom out and this is what we have. I'm going to move this down a little and I'm going to zoom in so you can see the entire thing like that. So are you with me so far? I think you are, right? Okay, so what we are going to do is that we want to go ahead and bring in our subject, okay? So I'm going to go back to my folder and I'm going to drag in this image. Now, a little thing for y'all to know, the picture in the middle is my husband, so I don't like sharing that image. Now I have another photo that you can use while practicing. So once we have our image in, I'm going to double click to accept it and I'm going to go ahead using my move tool. I'm going to go ahead and scale this and set him right in the middle like that. So the next thing you want to do here is that you want to take off the background. Now to take off the background, there are multiple ways of doing this. You can use your quick action by going under properties and locate your quick action. So if you click on your image and you go under your property, you're supposed to see quick action. So if you don't see quick action, it means that your layer has not yet been converted. So you need to click on convert layer and it will say, do you want to retrain, transform, applied on the smart object? We want to say yes. Did you hear my kids in the background? Now, when you go under your property, you see the quick action. Now, you want to make sure that you click on remove background. Now, sometimes when you go under quick action, you wouldn't see your remove background right away. So if you don't see it, you have to click on your quick action again so that it shows up the remove background. Now you can go ahead and click on remove background and sit back while Photoshop takes off the background for you and it's like perfecto. Now we want to make sure that we blend in our subject with our foreground. Now there are two ways of doing this. You don't want to blend in your background with your subject by erasing, because if you erase it, that is a destructive way. And if you change your mind and you want your full image back, you can't have it back. So a non-destructive way of doing that is to add a layer mask. So we are going to click on our image. It already has a layer mask. We need to right click on our layer mask and then click on apply layer mask. Now that will take off the background for you. And now we need to go ahead and apply another layer mask. So that is the little rectangle with the 0 icon on the bottom. So once you have that, now you want to pick up your brush tool. Now you want to make sure your foreground is black and your background is white. Now when it comes to layer masks, black hides and white reveals. So if you want to reveal anything using layer masks, you want to make sure you're painting with white. Now if you want to hide, you want to make sure you're painting with black. So with that activated, you want to make sure you pick up your brush tool. You can right click, it will bring up the brush options. You want to make sure you choose a soft brush. Your hardness, you want it to be at 0, and you can play with the size. Now this size is good enough, and we are going to go ahead and either press the right or left bracket if you feel your brush is too small, so you can make it a little bit bigger. Now you can basically blend in your subject so it looks very nice. Now this way, in case I change my mind, all I have to do is click on my layer mask thumbnail, right click, and click on this disable layer mask, and that basically hides all the effects you did on the layer mask. So we are going to go back and enable it since we need it, right? Okay, good. Now the other thing we want to do, or a trick that I want to show you, is how to use the patch tool to change up any background that you find online that you want to use. Sometimes you find an image that you want to use, but it might have some extra things that prevent you from using it. So I am going to go ahead and turn off the visibility of our subject layer, and we want to get rid of the circle within our image. So to do that, what do you think we use? The patch tool. That's very good. So the patch tool will do a very easy job instead of using the clone stamp tool. So you want to go and pick up your patch tool. All you have to do is make a selection of the area you want to replace. Now we need to make sure that we are on the right layer so we can move it. So now that you have that, you are just going to go ahead. You need to first of all convert this to a smart object so we can now move it. So if I do something like this and I press Command D, it's like voila, it disappears and it doesn't look bad. You can't really see sort of a patching effect. It blends it in very well. So we're going to do the same thing, make a few selection and just do that continuously till you finish. Now you need to click on it once to deselect and then make your selection again and maybe move it over there. Do the same thing here like that. Now sometimes when you use the patch tool, it leaves a bit of maybe a white area depending on where you're copying from. So you need to maybe make a few selections and maybe clean up the area that you have already started cleaning off. So you have something like this. Now this is much easier because we are working with watercolor text, watercolor design. So it doesn't need to be perfect in terms of, you know, once you patch, you don't have any areas that are very obvious that you've patched. Now it becomes more complex if you have different types of background, but for this purpose this is good. With this all set, we are going to go ahead and turn back on our subject layer, and voila, we are all set with our background. So guys, with this set, we want to go ahead and I want to show you how you can create an outline text that you can use on your flyers to give it a very nice effect. Now I am going to leave my text, my foreground color on white, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in join us. So with this, all I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and scale it and make it a little bit bigger like that. I want to go now. Once you have this, you have the option of either typing everything in caps, or if you want all your text in caps, all you have to do is go under your property, click on the double T. It will turn all your text into uppercase. Now, if you want to reduce the spacing, all you need to do is scroll down and go up to character, and then with your VA, you can basically squish or make your spacing of your text a lot bigger. So with this set, the other thing we want to do is to make the J and the U bigger. So I'm going to click on my type tool, highlight just my J, and I'm going to go ahead, highlight this, and maybe type in 300. Let's see. It's not that bad. That's actually good. So we're going to do the same thing for the J. I'm going to go ahead for the U. I'm going to go ahead and type in 300, enter. Now we have this effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and scale it down a little like this, and I'm going to set it right there. Now notice that it's behind our subject. That is why you can't see the entire text. Now to move it up, click on that layer and just drag that layer to the top, just like that, and you are done. So now that we have our subject on top, we want to double click on this and change the color. So I'm going to click on my foreground color. It will bring up the color picker. I want something in the honey mustard. So I'm going to pick this color, click OK, and voila. Now I'm going to go ahead to make a copy. So click on your text and type in, hold down your Command and J to make a copy. If you are on Windows, is Control J to make a copy. Now we want to turn off the original join us. Now this copy, we want to basically turn it into an outline. So you can double click on the actual layer and you can rename it outline text, just for order and organization purposes. I'm going to go ahead and click on my fill, and you want to take your fill all the way to 0. Oops, we lost our text. Don't worry, it's right there. I'm going to show you. So once you take your fill to 0, you want to right click on your text and you want to convert your text into a shape. Now we see the outline. So you want to go ahead and pick up your path selection tool under your type tool. So just click on that and you want to go up. Once you click on that, it activates your stroke options for your shape. Now you can go ahead, click on the fill. We want to choose a white. Now for our stroke, we want to choose white. Fill, make sure your fill is empty, not filled with color. Now we want to go ahead and increase the pixel thickness so we can see. Now this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and reduce it just a little bit more. So we have something like this. Now we want to go ahead and add a bit of a shadow effect. So you want to double click on your layer. It will bring up the layer style. Now you can move this dialog box so you can see the changes that you're making. So click on your drop shadow and you notice that it added a little bit of an effect. Now, if you want it to be more deeper, you can click on your drop shadow. It will open up more options. Now you can begin to play around with the settings. So you can see that as I increase my opacity, my shadow becomes more deeper, and my spread, I can even increase my spread if I want. So these are all things that you can play with. I'm going to go ahead to click OK. Now, another cool thing that you can do is that you can actually maybe make a quick, I'm going to go ahead to pick up my lasso tool, and I'm just going to draw a diagonal in between my text like so. And you want to make sure that you are on your text layer and you want the inverse. So you want to go to selection inverse and you want to go ahead and add a layer mask. Now, when you add a layer mask, it basically takes off that portion of your text. So it hides it. Now, we want to go ahead and type in this Sunday. So pick up your type tool. Now, my join as I use Century Gothic, and for my this Sunday, I'm going to use the Basca style, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in this Sunday, and I'm going to use my move tool. I'm going to move it and set it right there. Now I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to come to my double T's, turn it off, so everything is lowercase except the top, except the first two. Now you can set this any way you want, and even if you want, you can also add a shadow. So double click on that layer, bring up the layer style, and you can go ahead and add a shadow, click OK, and it looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and type in the name of the pastor and also add in the date. So I'm gonna pick up my type tool, flip my foreground and background to white, and I'm just going to go ahead using the Century Gothic. I'm gonna go ahead and just type in with and I'm going to use my move tool, move that down, scale it down like that, and we can set it right here. So if your text needs to be adjusted in terms of the spacing, all you need to do is go under your property and reduce the spacing of the A over A. So just always remember that is almost like the fraction, the top and the bottom. So that should give you a clue. Now, with this set, we want to go ahead and type in our date. I'm going to pick up my type tool again, and this time we're going to choose my other favorite font. Do y'all know that? It's the Bebas. You're right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and look for my Bebas, and I'm going to go ahead and type in May. And I'm going to go ahead to highlight that, click on my color picker. Instead of picking a color here, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the yellow, click OK, and we are going to go ahead and move that and set that right here. You can add a shadow by double clicking to bring up the layer style. Now we can change this shadow effect and make it a little bit deeper, increase the opacity so it pops. We can click OK. Now you can set this here, or you can even set it at the top, May, and we're going to add the 24. So click on your text, Command J, make a copy, move that down, double click, and it's going to be 30th. So I'm going to go ahead and increase that. We're going to set that right there like that. And you can go ahead and space it by going under your VA. So it's a little bit spaced out like that. And you can increase your month, so it's a little bit bigger if you want, or we can set it only on the 3. So the next thing we're going to do is to bring in our logo. So I'm going to highlight the logo, the Facebook logo, as well as the Zoom logo, since we're going to use all 3. I'm going to go ahead, drag all 3 in, double click to accept every time I bring in, and I'm just going to go ahead, scale this down, move this in the corner, click on our logo, and I'm going to go ahead and scale this down, double click, click on the Facebook, and I'm going to go ahead, scale it down like that. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to set it somewhere here, as well as the Zoom information as well. Double click and set that right there. Now I'm going to move my logo, and I'm going to set it right there. So it acts like a J with, or like a lower J with the dot. So you can see that you can be very playful with your design. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a copy of my name, Command J, make a copy, move that here, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in. So I'm going to make a copy of my May, Command J, make a copy, move that down. I'm going to double click to make that white. So click on your foreground, background. It sets the default. Click on your arrow to change it to white. Now we can go ahead and type in meeting. And then if you want, you can actually go under your property, open up your spacing just a little so it reads well, and the ID. Now you can even highlight just the ID and change the color to the yellow mustard. We can increase that a little and choose that, click OK. So that sort of stands out. And you have your Facebook, which is next to it. Now, if you want, you can even select everything, hold down Shift, select this and that. You can scale it down a little bit more, and we can set that right here like that. Now you can select just the Facebook, and that can be the next item that you have. Once you have this, all you need to do is to add your time. So we are going to click on this, Command J, just make a copy, double click on it. You can make it white or any color that you want. I'm going to make it 10. I'm going to go ahead and type in 10, and we're going to move that and set that right next to our meeting ID. Click on it, Command J, make a copy. Now we want to change this to 30, and it's AM like that. Now we are going to pick up our move tool and scale this, take it down like that, and then move that and set that next to the 10. Now we can even move these two from where they are and set them right here, just like that. Now we can highlight and change this to white so that it blends in or it pops well. So once you have this, you can go ahead and maybe scale this down a little so it's not overpowering. And this is in a good spot like that. Now, the other thing that you should take note of is that this logo is my church logo, so I can't give that out as well, but you can find, or you can use your own logo. So this is basically it. Now we need to go ahead and add the church name. So Command J, make a copy. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to type in, we want to highlight and make that black. So click on your arrow to flip the color, click on your move tool. Now we want to move that and set that at the top of our join, but oops, you can't see it. Do you know why? Yeah, it's because that layer is behind the subject layer. So if you find that layer in your layers panel, move that to the top and voila, it shows up. Now we are going to move it and scale it down a little, maybe to align with the O and the N. So it's right in between the two. You can highlight and maybe change this to bold so it stands out a little bit more. If you want to play again with the effect that I showed you, you can go ahead. Oops, now we need to move it. So the other thing is, whenever you're moving your text, you have to make sure you move it with the other one as well, so that it all lines up. But now check it out. If I want, I can even shape this so we have this cool effect instead of it being just the line drawing. I like it. So you can either have it with the text or without the text. Either way it works. I mean, I like both. Oh, please give this video a thumbs up. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you back in the next tutorial. Bye y'all.